Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm gonna show you the top 5 best Switch exclusive JRPGs so far. No games that were released on other systems, that's right, this is on Xbox One too and this is on Steam. No remasters or ports or collections of any kind like these two for example. Remakes are fine. And with all that clarified, let's begin! Number 5. Super Mario RPG Remake. This classic turn-based RPG came back recently after so many years. As you may already know, it's a full remake of the original Super Nintendo game, developed by Nintendo and Arte Piazza. Now, this remake, besides having the updated new graphics like I mentioned, also has other new features, updated character and enemy names, new additions in combat, and both original and new soundtracks. Legendary composer Yoko Shimomura composed the OST for the SNES version, and she's back with a newly arranged version of it for this remake. It also includes an easy mode for those who will find it challenging. The original wasn't too hard actually, except for the final battles and the secret boss, who is also back by the way, but overall the normal mode in this new remake is also kinda easy. I'm glad Nintendo decided to bring back this charming and beloved classic after all these years. About time, right? I made a full review of this game which you can find on this channel. Obviously, what with it being a Mario game, it's a Switch exclusive and will most likely forever be one. Number 4. Astral Chain. This is a really unique and great looking action RPG developed by Platinum Games. It's weird that the company decided to make it a Switch exclusive though. I know they worked with Nintendo before for other titles, so the only reason I can think of is that Nintendo made some kind of deal with them. This game was a commercial and critical success, despite being somewhat complex to play and also somewhat hard to get into. Still, it became one of the best-selling Switch games ever, having sold almost 1.5 million copies to this day. Graphics are great, and there's barely any performance issues, frame rate is stable most of the time, and so is the resolution. I wanted to point that out because the Switch has always been known for having technical problems with most third-party games. Astral Chain looks fantastic on the console. An action RPG where you control your male or female protagonist, but also their legions, creatures that you'll have to also manually control for the entirety of the game. Only one at once though, they mostly fight by their own, but a lot of commands, platforming and puzzle solving requires you to use them. Story is also quite interesting about a police group in some kind of cyberpunk universe that protects whatever's left of humanity from interdimensional creatures. Oh yeah, it's bizarre, but that's a sci-fi dystopia for you. And it's really good, so don't worry. Great game here. One of the best exclusives on the Switch still to this day. I can't believe it took Platinum Games over 5 years to develop it. Number 3. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. 3 Houses has been out for a while, just like Astral Chain, and it still holds up masterfully nowadays. It was a very different approach to the series, mainly for including slice-of-life dialogue in situations. Gameplay mechanics too, by the way. Never before have we seen a title in the series where you play as a teacher, teaching students to increase their stats, pretty much playing in a training school simulator. Of course, that's only for the first half of the game, but don't worry, I won't spoil anything for you. Still, the game carried over a protagonist formula seen before in titles such as Awakening and Fates on the 3DS. The latter also had an option to choose between 3 different routes, leading to 3 different endings. This game, hence its name, also lets you do that, but the protagonist remains the same male or female character known as Violet. I think the graphics look gorgeous in this game, being pretty much a first-party title developed by good old Intelligent Systems. It's interesting to notice how solid the performance is. Gameplay is also quite addictive since the school simulation rarely feels like a chore and it's quite simple to understand. I'm glad it remained a grid-based strategy RPG with some new additions like characters fighting alongside platoon soldiers, for example. It just didn't disappoint one bit, and it actually surpassed my low expectations some years ago. This is an excellent game. There's also Fire Emblem Engage, which came out in January of 2023. You'll be surprised to know that I haven't played it yet. Hopefully I will before the year ends. All I know is what many people have told me, that the story sucks, but the gameplay is awesome. Well, one of these days I'll see for myself if that's true or not. Number 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This third entry in the Xenoblade saga was a very anticipated game. It premiered to critical acclaim and commercial success. Criticism was there for the graphics, but at least it was an improvement over its predecessor. Every Xenoblade has so far been an exclusive to Nintendo consoles, all of them developed by Monolith Soft, spearheaded by legendary Xenogears director Tetsuya Takahashi. What I like about this series is how different they are from one another in terms of almost everything. Yes, they're all science fiction games, and while the combat is similar in all, and a creative evolution from each last entry, the rest assembles a plethora of different feels. I for one wasn't expecting the series to take a turn to a young cast, but in mature situations. Unlike its flamboyant predecessor, which highlighted fan service more than anything. While still a great game, it just doesn't hold a candle to this masterful sequel, the one that actually ties the trilogy together, now facing the cruel division of society in a conflict that might be an accurate representation of reality's current events. People divided, manipulated by a powerful and conniving group to fight each other constantly. Sounds like social media nowadays, huh? So our 6 heroes set out to put a stop to it all. This writing is just fantastic, as its gameplay mechanics are. I love the fact that you had so many quality of life improvements and a much more engaging battle system. It is still a challenging game, but it's more balanced than the others, and everyone can get into it more easily. This is honestly a masterpiece and one of the best JRPGs not only on the Switch, but also from the current generation. Number 1, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'm an SMT diehard, so of course I gotta give the first place to this game, although Xenoblade 3 deserves it just as much. People may have forgotten the controversial nature of this 5th main entry in the saga. Several years of development, long periods of time without any news. Atlus certainly brought upon themselves some well-deserved backlash back then. But along came the fans to defend developers in favor of taking as much time as needed to deliver a masterpiece. Not many share this opinion, I know, but the result was more than satisfactory, at least for me personally. I wasn't expecting the game to be so incredibly addictive and, like Xenoblade 3, with quality of life improvements, beautiful visuals despite the graphical limitations of the Switch, which by now should be perfectly understandable. Incredible exploration that's more than seamless, so many things to see, to discover and to challenge yourself with. This is a brutal RPG, even on easy mode, but the spice of it is to set out there to find different ways around it. Goodbye random encounters, enemies are easy to avoid if you don't want to fight, etc. At this point, there's so much good in this game that it's hard for me not to praise it. I know the story raised some concerns on how it was told, perhaps not in such a strong and dark manner as previous entries, but it definitely didn't disappoint me. The last thing I can say is that it's got a magnificent soundtrack by Ryota Kosuka that will forever be as memorable as its controversial reprise. You were probably expecting to see at least one Pokemon game in this video, weren't you? I'm not a fan of the series, but I can recognize its success and appeal to other gamers. And about the Zelda games, they could have easily been here had I played them before. Not many consider them as RPGs, and until I put some real hours into Breath of the Wild at least, I will continue denying them as such. But hey, who said there couldn't be any honorable mentions in this video? And with that said, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!